War best of 5. Round 2 here in the playoffs just seems to start off with a Telecom War. That's what happened. Ever since we've changed our playoffs format, this is just tradition, and we'll see whether that continues to be the case as we move further forward. But so far, and for this year, it absolutely is. The Aatrox will be the adaptation. KT still banning away the Poppy, and I'm glad you mentioned it earlier on. I think this one makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, the Poppy, I think, just kind of has to be permabanned here. Lehends gets the respect for the Alistar, and then also BDD having so many fantastic engages here on the Neeko will also show that. So all 4 of these bans just pointing towards insane power picks for both these teams. But the final bans is where it gets a little bit tricky because you can't always ban that final comfort. They'll take away Guma Xayah, and this might just mean a trade here of the Kai'Sa because KT will absolutely first pick it if you do leave that one up and available. And you don't get the Aatrox to counter. You can go Maokai Jace, but, you know, if you ban the Kai'Sa, they get Maokai. If you go Maokai Jace, you know, as T1 here, can be quite problematic. Sejuani's still available for Cuz, been one of his best picks all season long. And you can't take both the Jax and Renekton. So KT have a lot of power to dictate this draft now. Tristana, though, will be the choice they opt into.
Yeah. And the Tristana was pretty face up, and with Kai'Sa being banned away, there's no big trade-off now as well, especially with Xayah off the table.
Sejuani Jax.
T1 have loved it, and so Sejuani Jax is going to come in. What is KT's response to this?
Yeah, and, you know, T1, they could have opted into a Maokai here and put the Jace into the Tristana, but I don't think with Faker's current form, you want to put him up against Tristana on the Jace. This is a much safer rotation, and I like this a lot for T1. And looks like we're going to grab a Rel here as a flex pick, which keeps the Tristana still technically flexible to the bottom lane as well. And then for KT, you have a lot of options is what you could do here. You don't want to necessarily pick up a Rumble, even though it feels great into the Jax matchup. It's Jax Sejuani here, and you already don't have a very tanky front line for your what will be a double 80 carry composition, very likely. See what the plan's going to be. Just going to lock in the Zeri, get that prio scaling pick here for aiming. I like this a lot, especially with the Xayah removed.
Yeah, I actually really like this because it kind of thins out the pool before the next ban phase has even come in yet. Likely that T1 was going to look for a priority pick there towards the bottom side. The Azir to come in, though. The Emperor to be picked up for the god of the mid lane himself.
I think this is exactly the kind of draft that T1 could win this series with. You know, you have Owner, yeah, he's playing Sejuani. It's been a bit of an up and down for him, but he's got an empowering Jax there that both these players can play together around that top side, which is going to be your strong point. Azir, tough to lose many matchups here as Faker, even in current form. And now you can pick up a scaling bottom laner here for Guma. The question is, what's that going to be? Zeri's gone. You've lost the Xayah. They can take away the Aphelios here even, I think is totally fine. The Neela respect. And the pool's going to get thinned out. Now the Renekton is gone here.
Yeah. And is it going to be K'Sante banned? It has been a relatively safe pick towards the top lane, but instead, the Lulu going to be taken away. Something that Lehends actually popularized since her pretty large nerfs towards the end of this season. So not going to have the opportunity to go towards that. And now, as far as supports are concerned, almost everything outside of the Alistar is going to be available as far as our pool of engaged supports. The Leona, the Nautilus, things like this can come in. And the Draven going to be taken away from Gumayusi here. Could work out for protecting the Zeri lane, but Rakan, don't know how I missed that one, because Rakan has been very high priority in these playoffs.
It also has, you know, a lot of great setup in this draft here, too, for T1, regardless of AD carry, as it looks like we might see Emilio's hovered here. I'm not a huge fan of this, even though it does make the Tristana a lot better. It isn't going to be that great with Zeri here. And you can put some pressure on in the lane, of course. We'll see if they do decide to lock this. I like the Nautilus way more. Leona also I'm a huge fan of here because you want to set up picks for this Tristana. She needs to blow up a single target. And the Gragas is so obvious here because you're playing into the Jax, Sejuani. It's the safest pick. It's going to give you better engage. And the Sivir, I think, would have been a much better ban than the Draven here, honestly, because it's hard for T1, even with this Jax Sejuani, to get a Draven cash-in on early objectives. I think that one kind of missed the mark for me. The Neela as well, I think not necessarily 100% what you're looking for for here. With this Azir, Sejuani, Jax, you're always looking for a scaling AD carry here. Both the Aphelios and the Sivir, which I think is way stronger here than Aphelios, were open. Gives you a ton of wave clear for mid. You already have that split push win condition in the Jax here. And T1 have definitely built a powerhouse composition. For KT, the mid game is explosive. If Zeri and Tristana win,
Can be a tool there, but let's jump onto the Rift here, ladies and gentlemen, for game number 1 of this best of 5. Ooh, shout outs to Gumayusi going for Pack Sivir, easily the best Sivir skin by about a country mile. Shout outs to Tron as well. Just
we see it pretty much every time. So, you know, most of our players make the right choice.
They do. Sometimes you get Warden Sivir, and you're like, why? I mean, it's not even nearly the best card. It's that one makes me very upset.
Where are you on the new portrait for Sivir? Because I actually really think I'm kind of
I kind of like the old one. I like the old bit like Angry Sivir. It was a bit more like Xena Warrior Princess to me, and you know. I think that it's just a very clear Sivir vibe.
New Sivir portrait just kind of says, "I'm back. I'm not just an old champion. I'm relevant again. And I'm gonna be in the conversation for scaling 80
What
carries."
about old Sivir?
Oh, that's just scary. that one. She doesn't look like an 80 carry in that portrait. Let's say
She definitely had triangle feet as well when that portrait was still active.
this matchup, by the way, is so fun. Not only in terms of the Tristana and the Azir, which is a very skill-based matchup. You gotta get that jump over the Emperor's Divide, but also just watching two legends here who are really fighting against each other in terms of legacy here towards, you know, what is much of, in terms of our mid-pool, like two of the longest careers we have in the LCK right now.
Yeah.
And BDD, not always known for getting huge lane advantages, but with this Tristana here, he definitely has an opportunity to prove he can do it. He's got the fleet footwork here, and he's just going to constantly put the pressure on here, puts another charge onto Faker at level 2.
It really does feel like the new Kuro versus Faker is Flash has to come out here from Keria very early on, not respecting the level 2. And KT, that is a big Summoner Spell opportunity. Gumayusi doesn't have the Spell Shield yet, is going to be able to outrange that one. Zeus keeping Keen at arm's length. The Fnatic Gragas, Sushi shoutouts, you love to see it from Keen.
Yeah, very cool. And up in the top lane, as soon as level 2 is hit, Keen will stop feeling as much of that pressure. Have the body slam to stop Counter-Strike engage. Zeus just stacking his passive early there and pushing through as there's level 3.
That's one way to get a cannon, as Faker is going to have to Shifting Sands to get himself the shield. And does mitigate a bit of the damage, but still, BDD just having a great time here, utilizing the knowledge of the turret aggro range very, very well. I thought he was very close to getting in range there, as Zeus going to get stunned up, and Cuz has a red buff, so Zeus going to have to get out of here.
Yeah, he should be okay, but let's see if Cuz flashes.
Whoa, he is going to flash in. Looks for Zeus here, and now that red buff is ticking down. Counter-Strike does come in, but another stun comes through, and BDD will spot out exactly what's going on here. Owner will move up, and Zeus is going to try and get over. Oh, the interrupt was so good out of Owner, but maybe he's going to give up his own life. He's going to have to flash now, as everyone's just piling in underneath this outer turret, and Keen is just pushing the wave, having a great time.
And it's one of those things where you watch the dominoes, you know that meme where the first domino goes down and it topples a huge domino? I mean, we're going to get into it in a moment. It's not over yet.
All right, Keen, let's see whether you can lock this one down. There's first blood. Owner now underneath the turret, an explosive charge. Going to be able to grab it. It's all too easy, and Lehens was there to pull the wave in mid.
Yeah,
that's the way to get 2,000 kills. Well,
yeah, it is. And the first domino was Faker actually shielding to try to trade there with BDD and get that CS, and taking another set of actual big set of damage, and that trade means that he ends up losing control of the wave, and BDD could just go all the way up to the top side. And it's very common for Jax in pretty much every matchup right now to go in around level 4, proxy that wave so they can't actually freeze it against you, so Rel can come up and make an impact. The problem was that Cuz is very well aware of that timing, comes in there, sets up the stun, and then pushes Zeus' health bar low. Owner gets the read and says, okay, I've got to come up here and help. They're going to die. Faker doesn't have prio, but then they beautifully play the final parts of this, as this is, of course, the stop here on the jump from Owner. Just beautiful. Doesn't ultimately end up saving the play here, but it definitely looked cool. Has to flash, unfortunately, and Still will be the demise of him and Zeus in the follow-up play, but it is cool to show that as Keen just sets up the body slam here. Too much damage on Tristana even early on in the game. And this Jack's pressure point we were talking about you want to neutralize, I'd say it's neutralized.
Yeah, and once again, Zeus is between the turrets. BDD is once again jumping on top of Faker. He has a red buff now as well. And I want to go back to that play just a little bit and illustrate just how good KT are just in general. Because as that play started, instead of Keen moving down to try and help Cuz grab that kill, instead, Keen immediately stacks the wave so that they can prepare for a dive that could potentially happen in the future. Like, it's crazy how, like, they understood which dominoes were going to fall, which could lead to each moment. And it all came off the back of mid-control and Cuz being able to make sure Zeus was on the run as Emperor's Divide is going to be thrown down here. Cuz, as I'm singing his praises, he's going to get caught out by a line of Sand Soldiers. Will be taken down. T1 on the board.
Now, really nice angle Faker finds here. Doesn't even have to flash for this one. Comes in there, punishes the Rel, who has no flash herself. And that was a bit of a greedy moment there for Cuz. It is punished. T1 still with the great reads, tracking those summoners. And BDD not with enough prio this time to actually stop that from happening. Bottom side as well, with Sivir starting to get a few points in her abilities here.
Yeah, nice spell shield there. He's going to deny the hook, but
yeah, she can push this through and get a little bit of bottom side control. So Drake does go over to KT, but Cuz will pay his life there for the greedy rotation over.
Yeah, wasn't actually going to crash down his way out of there as Lehends is sweeping through. Doesn't find too much value from that one, but knows that there isn't too much vision. Potential lane gank opportunity as Keen having a much better time here towards his top side. He's the main benefactor of the whole early situation, and it's the right player to get ahead. As here towards the bottom side, Lehends takes a full Boomerang Blade. Is going to have to back away, aiming as well as these ricochets starting to hurt from Gumayusi.
Yeah, and you mentioned it in the draft as we were talking about what these compositions mean, and he's going for the AP build. He's going for damage. He's stacking his tier already. There's the last chapter, or lost chapter coming through here, and he's going to be able to put on a lot of damage here. Speaking of damage, BDD just constantly jumping into Faker while this Emperor's Divide is on cooldown and before it was available. But watch Faker's play here once more. Cuz secures the Drake and decides actually not to path down to where he has a Nautilus for potential assistance to get out here. Carry is over. The bottom prio, a big problem. Faker just comes in. Could have tried to pass over to his bottom duo, but just walking that one out wasn't going to happen without help, without flash.
Yeah, could have also just crashed down over the wall behind him. So decides instead that he'll risk it. They had vision absolutely everywhere, so kind of an unforced error.
He might have used it to secure the smite, I guess. You know, I don't know about that.
Just wait the 5 seconds, you know, you'll be all right. And probably will next time. Zeus now just collecting minions underneath this turret. Keen moving towards about a wave advantage here as Lehends moving up towards this mid lane. Rift Herald has spawned. That's why we see the congregation of supports in this area. Faker is able to offer a fair bit of damage back though. And even though BDD was putting on a lot of pressure as far as getting damage down and poke and things like that, Faker has stayed well and truly even on this farm.
Yeah. Not a huge advantage here for BDD, who is going for a Shiv early. So he is going to, you know, with that kill, have a nice time and can clear these waves very quickly. But all-inning and killing Faker when his ult is up is just not realistic. As the level 6 is hit here for aiming, see if he can actually catch Guma off guard. Looks like he's going to think better of it here. I think this is probably the right call.
He's skating in.
All right.
We're trying to kill him. Okay, there's on the hunt. Gumayusi is going to spell shield. He gets no value from it. Flashes out. There's a flash to follow. His aiming really wants to pick this one up. Not enough burst fire. And he will get out.
Now, aiming can't get to this fight still, though, so KT are going to have to win this one decisively.
Yeah, 4v4. Glacial Prison is going to connect as Lehends does get out of there. Carrier charms them up. As now BDD trying to get aggressive. Cuz dives in, finds 3 with the Magnustorm, but it's still Zeus that grabs one of the kills. BDD locks one down. Emperor's Divide is going to land as BDD is going to get out of it. There's the flash, avoids the grand entrance, and this Tristana is an absolute problem. Still, Carrier's going to kind of outplay him there a little bit as the explosive charge ain't quite going to be enough. I still don't know whether he can get out, but he will.
Just barely enough mana there, so aiming fails to get the kill there onto Guma, does decide to ultimately go in with the Extendo Beam. Nice little tech there to try to slow Guma enough when the ult comes through to take him out, but doesn't have enough damage. He is able to escape with the help of both of his summoners. And then the fight on the top side of the map, He should be fine here. Emperor's Divide is down here for Faker. In the top side of the map, the fight looks pretty good for T1 until the re-engage comes through from Cuz, and the Magnet Storm is fantastic, follows up as well, and then all you need to win a fight here in the early game with this Tristana is 1 kill and 1 reset. And look at T1's positioning here. They have Zeus in a really nice spot. The engage onto Lehends is good. They force his flash. The cast comes through is okay.
Faker, I think, may be dead, as Cuz is going to turn up as well. Okay. Faker, last auto attack there from BDD. That'll do it, and that will probably also get KT a Rift Herald, because even though we had a big old fight and there was some biffo there towards the top side, the Herald just was ignored in the end. The Zona comes on over to try and defend. They're not going to lose this next plate.
Yeah, with only BDD the last one standing there on that fight, he couldn't do it alone by the time the low health, or rather low respawn timers would come through from T1. So ultimately they walk away from that one, but the pile onto Faker, who still doesn't have Emperor's Divide, doesn't have Flash from that previous play either, is just a sitting duck here in mid and no one to cover for him. Owner didn't have his ult back up either, and now Cuz looking for a bot side play.
Yeah, Carrier moving on over as they get the on the hunt. And Gumayusi is just going to get out of there. Doesn't have any summoner spells or his ultimate now, so will be difficult for him to play out any more. Did have to use an extra summoner spell, I guess, in that exchange after aiming Dove on top of him. But the fact that he holds onto his life is very important. As KT, they find some T1 members in this Herald pit, and let's see what's going to happen. Lehends is going to miss the hook as there's the Glacial Prison connecting on to Keen. The eye is going to be secured here by T1. Oh, never mind. It won't be secured by T1 because I don't think they will be able to get back into this pit.
Yeah, they can't get the eye, unfortunately. Very greedy, actually, call here from T1 to commit to this when the push is coming through in mid, and you know that aiming doesn't have a support bottom side. He's in mid, so the numbers advantage is not really yours. Faker is just going to get caught here by a Hex flashing Lehends. Lehends just will make plays everywhere on the map. That's why he picked up MVP, and Faker with no defensive sums.
Take 2 as a Magnet Storm is going to be here, so it's 2 versus 1. So very different scenario, and aiming is going to collect himself his first kill.
I can't even keep up with how much KT are running circles around T1 right now in this game. 4 kills for the Tristana early. They set up the Zeri bottom side a second time, and with no flash for Guma still, he is, like Faker was before him, another target, another sitting duck here. And it's just like this goon squad here that Cuz is running for KT, just running around the map, constantly finding picks. And T1 are just trying to farm. They're just trying to exist. And Cuz says no. Yeah. And he just walks left here. The Extendo Beam would have slowed him. Caught by the Magnet Storm. No outplay available. Nothing you could do as a Sipper here. There's nothing to Spell Shield that's going to save you. There's just too many things. And no flash means he's just done.
Yeah, he is. And Carrier had just finished a back as well as they decide to go for that play. Very unfortunate. I don't know whether Carrier could have actually saved anything.
Yeah, he might have died too.
Yeah, he might have died too, or he might have been able to help Gumayusi get out of there. Does have a fair bit of CC in the kit, but you don't know. Hindsight's 20/20 and all that sort of stuff. As Gumayusi now, the map getting a little bit dark as Lehends are moving down towards this bottom side.
Look how much vision T1's committed to the north of the Drake pit here to try to keep Faker and Guma alive, and yet still Lehends finds this pocket here with a control ward and is just threatening, oh, Carrier might want to come back to help his laner. Better not take this river angle or I will absolutely crush you. And aiming starting to get so ahead here too that it's just so problematic. Carrier is trying to make an impact everywhere, but he's just slowed down so significantly. Owner.
Yeah, Lehends is going to walk into this brush. Permafrost does come down. Good buffer off the Dredge line to make sure that CC does absolutely nothing. And it's an Infernal Rift as well, something that we haven't necessarily mentioned just yet. And that is going to be a problem if KT continue to stack these Drakes, because that is a very powerful one, especially for the amount of damage that is on this KT, right? Full AP Gragas, or at least partial AP Gragas,
yeah, it's
and double AD carry as the flash hook comes out from Lehends. He's not afraid to go for those. I don't even know whether Faker had to really dodge very much. However, he did avoid it. Let's just say that.
Sure.
He's going to face check, but Keen is here.
Yeah, and the AP Gragas is going to be a lot of damage coming here too, on top of the double 80 carry. There's just so many ways to get through this health bar of the Sejuani. And the Crown build here from Faker, okay, everything's going to be fine. That's scary for a second. The Crown build here from Faker will help a little bit, but it's not really burst that you're dealing with. It's just great sustained damage. The only burst damage really is from Keen. And, you know, he's not going to be engaging on a Nazir. He's going to be helping to cut off the Jax and the Sejuani at the front lines with his Everfrost after he sets up body slams and stuff like that. The Crown, I feel like, is not super great here.
Well, we'll see how it does at this particular moment. Emperor's Divide is going to throw Cuz away. He's going to flash, and now Faker, he's looking for Cuz. The Crashdown is going to give him the shield, and now BDD is dancing after the rest of T1. A beautiful cask, and Keen is going to deliver the board to Aiming. He's going to collect that one, and they're not even able to trade for the turret because the teleport will immediately come down.
Yeah, and this will be first brick going over to KT here in the mid lane. Lehens on the flank here is seen by this ward, but the fact that he's here means it's just so difficult to even group to try to clear this wave. Down it goes, and KT at 15.5 minutes here, sitting on a 4,300 gold lead. And this is not the only turret that's going to go down here pre-20. Top side, very weakened with the amount of control they had top. And Keria here trying to bait Cuz into an engage as it's not done.
Yeah, we've got a bit of a fight as BDD finds the buster shot on Zeus, and he's just going to get out of there.
He's going to be totally fine. And I don't know if we'll get another replay of that previous play, but it was a good idea there. Ultimately, we're punished by KT, and Rel is just very difficult to kill, very difficult to lock down, has a lot of CC, has a lot of mobility, and top side here, they try to make a play. We didn't get the beginning of that, but obviously didn't end up working out. Keen and Cuz down flashes here, but nobody dies, and now... Yeah, there's a big group.
Lehens is Hex flashing over the wall. They did see a Zeri walking alone in the river, and I think that that indicates that there's probably more members of KT in the area. And we see, with now the vision being given back in its entirety, that was indeed the case. The double supports that we have, or double junglers in the Rel and Nautilus, prowling around, making sure they can protect their carries.
Keria is...
he is behind enemy lines.
I mean, now he probably just has to try to back here and hope for the best. And it looks like he will get away with it. Oh, he's not backing, but there's nobody to make a play with him for a while. He's going to have to stay here for a while, and that means the chances of him dying are quite high.
So, what's the plan?
I mean, I think the idea here was hopefully BDD tries to push up and trade with Faker, and then they punish him with the owner setup they had down there. And then if Tristan tries to rocket jump away, Keria is there to catch. But there's a turret here, and he's sticking around. And, I mean, I think the window is missed, let's just say, at this point.
I mean, if they're going for a... Okay, Gumayusi going to have the spell shield pop. Great Everfrost. Gumayusi is just dead. He's way too close to all the bad guys. And the cask, the free delivery, and now the back has to come through because I think it was just a long play Keria wanting to be able to fight for the soul point battle that was going to come through. You can get the big flank, but yeah, he's still going for it.
I think he wants to punish this BDD aggression, but Cuz is here, and I mean, you can flank all you want on this Drake, but if the rest of the team can't make it because their AD carry is dead, it's like the support's on vacation over here. Keria not in touch with the rest of his team, and if the long con play never executes, you know, we can't even give him credit for
Gleaming Will steal.
I don't think so. They're like, they know he's gone too. They're like, he hasn't shown for a while. He might be lurking around. They've kind of searched for him a few times. Where is he?
I don't even know. Maybe he's now decided. Oh, there he is. We found him. We found Keria. His Cuz going to dive on top of him. The Magnus Storm comes in. He battle dances to try and get himself out as Aiming doesn't skate along enough of the wall.
I mean, unless he's AFK, KT realized, like, okay, he's back there hiding because he wasn't supporting Guma when we picked him mid.
All right, but finally it has actually paid off.
There you go.
As I guess it was Zeus in the end, but I mean, look, I don't know.
Let's call Keria a bounty hunter, okay? Yeah. He was a bounty hunter. He was looking for that bounty.
Let's just say it worked out.
Ultimately, he sacrificed himself in order to allow his team to get the bounty.
Yeah. Nailed it. I mean, it's soul point for free, and everything is generally coming up KT, but we're going to have a look at this one more time.
So this is the moment where you realize, okay, where is Keria? He's been gone for a while. I mean, unless he's AFK in Fountain and trying to do some tricks, he's trying to hide for a flank. They realize it, pick him off, and then BDD, a little bit too far out here. The rest of the team is rotated over, and they spend a lot of time catching and killing Keria, which allowed T1 to kind of rotate over and capture that greedy Tristana. But ultimately, it's just a dip here in what is still a 5,000 gold lead, nearly for KT.
Yeah, and the Drake lead as well makes it feel like even more. Extra map control. We do have a Rift Herald alive for another 15 seconds. I don't know whether that is... never mind. The timer was there, but it is just gone. And the Baron on its way in 5.
Yeah, Baron on spawn here. There's a lot of damage on the...
Did we miss out on a Shirley this game?
Yeah, may
Yes,
have.
we just didn't have one.
Yeah.
We were too busy playing try and find carrier to hide and seek in the bottom lane that we didn't get there.
They're too busy killing the relevant Drakes to get Infernal Soul and killing the enemy champions to be interested in that one.
I guess so.
Lehen's up here very aggressively. I don't know if, I mean, you have a 2-item Tristana here, but I don't think you can start this Baron up without a pick yet at this point as KT Rolster here.
I mean, they're just their item lead is so massive with their 2-item spikes on both of these 80 carries. They're going to start up a fight here as the hook is going to connect. Owner just explodes and BDD going to lock down that kill. And now, without a jungler, it's going to become a lot more difficult for T1 to do anything.
So that's
about
the
this
pick.
Baron.
That's the pick they needed. And, you know, you have to be in this area as T1. Zeus will get some bounty gold here and does have teleport. He's going to use it.
Well, teleport is going to come in. Okay, there's the quickness into the backline. Emperor's Divide finds many as Keen's trying to get out of there. The Baron is going to be secured by Cuz as aiming ults, but he's 1 versus 3 is what it feels like. Now he's going to be able to skate his way out, and KT lose no one, get a Baron, and I guess it's totally fine.
Yeah, it's actually going to be fine here. Looked a little bit scary for just a moment there for KT, but they have successfully heisted this one away, and the Emperor's Divide, fantastic. But as you mentioned, just down so far in items that even with this fantastic engagement, Faker and Keria, it's not enough. They're trying to contest Vision over here so that they can be in position for that fight when Baron gets started, but ultimately that's why Owner will be picked off and won't be a part of this one. And then look at how quickly they can do this. 2-item Zeri, 2-item Tristana. Lehen's on the flank here, but isn't able to stop Keria from getting into engage range here. Looks for the knock up here. Emperor's Divide is fantastic, but where's the damage here? Zeus can't kill Keen. BDD Buster shots him away, and the rest of KT can actually just kite this one out. Target selection here, not the greatest on the side of T1, but they just don't have money.
No, and the fact that everyone just had an escape route that they could use to get out, I think if this was in our previous series, then whoever started that Baron loses the game in that moment. But in this instance, it's now KT being able to get back all 5 Barons intact. You can see the Baron power play, not exactly massive at this point in time. The earlier ones, more difficult to get a little bit more money on, but they have them on 5 people for the next minute and a half.
Look at these gold
turrets. Yeah, it's going to start to get even more ridiculous. The 3.2k in the mid lane.
And that's item value. That's not just acquired gold. So he's holding that BF sword and he is wielding it.
Yeah. As Hook is going to connect on to Gumayusi, but he does have a spell shield, so he will be all right. But now can't stand anywhere near this inner turret that's going to go down. 1 remaining inner on the map here for KT to lap up. They are 8,000 gold ahead at 22.5 minutes. Shellacking territory is where this game is.
And ultimately, this game, I feel like, started getting off the rails after that play topside, where Zeus died early with Owner, and the Jax was just a non-factor this game, because otherwise, as T1, you can shirk off a little bit of responsibility on these early Drakes and have some side lane pressure. Jax, yes, did get that bounty gold before the Baron fight, as Cuz once again in danger. Yeah. But, you know, you just don't have those windows anymore. The late game Jax, the late game Sivir, wave clear, and stuff like that, we can't have conversations about it if Cuz can just ult in and win a team fight instantly every time, because the numbers are just too high here for KT.
Yeah, these stabs and the crash downs from this rally can just kind of do it with impunity. There's now Infernal Soul on the table for KT. They have so much more money. Zeus does have a flank angle, but let's see whether the smite is going to be good. It's a Narnian Glacial Prison, but can they actually win the team fight? There's the Magnet Storm. T1 looking for a battle instead of the Dragon, but they've already lost their jungler and their support. Emperor's Divide connects, but it's only really onto Lehen's, who's going to find a stun onto Gumayusi and shuts him down, aiming, grabbing a bunch of kills, walks away with full health, and I think they can get a Drake if they want to, or they can win the game.
Yeah, they lost interest in the Drake real quickly with how quickly they were able to dispatch of T1 here, and at 24 minutes, they are going to push down this mid inhibitor here. Teleport to mid means they're looking to end here, and even with relatively low death timers here this early in the game, they have so much money. 3 items area here. This is going to make these turrets disappear. You've got a Tristana as well. Unfortunately, she's not here for the push. But, I mean, this is just so much damage.
Yeah, I don't know whether they're going to be able to stop this. Great little stun from Cuz, as well as Keen is just belly bopping this Nexus. A few more kills to pad the stats. Zaming grabs himself a double, and T1 have respawned, but their Nexus will not. Game 1 goes to KT.